An inquiry into complaints of sexual assault against a former Labour Party staffer has cast major doubt on the complainant's version of events. The public airing of a range of allegations put serious pressure on the most senior party officials and the Prime Minister Jacinda Adern back in September. She ordered 2 reviews, one from Maria Dew QC to look at the substance of the claims and the other to look at how the party handled the whole situation. Criticisms of party officials ultimately forced the resignation of Nigel Haworth as president at the height of the controversy. The staffer at the centre of the allegations also resigned, but has always denied the sexual assault allegations. The new president, Szabo, presented the findings at Parliament.
The report is clear that the most serious allegations, those of sexual assault, were not established. Other allegations of sexual harassment were also found not to be established. Some allegations that related to overbearing and aggressive conduct were found to be established, but were found not to meet the threshold of unlawful bullying.
Ms Adern says she's acknowledged the party failed to meet expectations and has new leadership in place. The complainants worked with Maria Dew on her investigation and were consulted about how much of the report would be made public. Ms Adern said the bulk of it would remain confidential, but defended releasing the executive summary.
We've been very conscious of people's well-being, all parties, the complainant, the respondent, all the way through, and being very clear the full report will not be released, should not be released. But of course, there was an expectation that some indication of the conclusions that would be reached would be, but maintaining the privacy of the individuals involved has been incredibly important.
And that was Jacinda Adern. Our political editor Jane Patterson joins us now. Good evening, Jane. What did Maria Dew have to say about the primary complainant's evidence and allegations?
So basically, Maria Dew interviewed a number of the complainants as well as other party members, and also looked at about 28,000 Facebook and text messages between those people and a wider group. And basically she came up with a conclusion that she found no evidence for the allegation of the serious sexual assault that was said to have happened at the respondent's house in February 2018, that basically all of the evidence given and those messages just didn't back up that claim. There were also 2 other allegations of sexual harassment by the primary complainant and 2 other young women. She also found no basis for those claims. Now, she did find that there was a bit of basically obnoxious or inappropriate behaviour that the respondent acknowledged and said that, you know, it shouldn't have happened. But effectively, there's nothing that warrants disciplinary action. And I must note too, the respondent, the man who was a staffer at Parliament, has denied these allegations all the way through, but he resigned his job in the middle of this controversy.
Maria Dew also addresses the fact that in her report she confirms that the principal complainant and the accused were in fact in a personal relationship at the time. What does she have to say about that and the issue of consent?
So she said this was quite a sensitive and difficult area, and I note too, only the executive summary, a 9-page summary, has been released. There's a lot more in the actual report that has been kept public to keep people's private details sensitive, but it does say, it notes this 8-month relationship, and it basically says that, you know, in the course of these interviews there were various issues about consent at one time or another in the relationship, and it's difficult, but basically Maria Dew said that the evidence within that and in the relationship still didn't stack up to what she had seen as a sexual assault. Now, she doesn't really make any comment about the fact that they were in a relationship. It was more the context of the communication and the interaction that she had with the complainant.
In the course of the media coverage of this issue, there was information from the complainant in which she insisted that she had forwarded details of a sexual assault complaint to the party and the party's General Secretary, Ms Diana Lacey. Are we any clearer about whether the party had this information or not?
Of course, Lisa, one of the big discrepancies during the reporting of this was we had the party officials, including the party president Nigel Haworth, who of course resigned, saying that they had not been alerted to any serious sexual allegations, and they were adamant about that. Now, that went as far as saying that a March email that the complainant said she sent to party officials, Diana Lacey, the party secretary, as you referred to, and also Simon Mitchell, another official who was put on a panel to look at these complaints, they both said, we never received anything, either verbally or an email. Now, an email was presented to media, and it basically was to show that the email had been sent to these two people, and it had two attachments on the copy of this email. Now, Maria Jew said she can't find any evidence that that attachment was ever sent, and that backs up statements made by Simon Mitchell a month or so ago, who actually got a forensic expert into his computer to prove that he never received that attachment. Furthermore, Maria Jew says that she can't find any evidence that these complaints, or she said it was improbable that the complaints were ever brought up with these the party officials verbally, which is another thing that the complainants had insisted had happened.
So did Nigel Haworth resign for nothing?
Jacinda Adern was asked whether he is due an apology, whether he was forced to resign, when actually there are massive question marks over the credibility of these claims. She said that it was an honourable decision of his. It had become clear to him that the party needed new leadership. But I think given this information, given particularly the fact that the report really can't find any evidence that these party officials did receive this information, I think will probably stick in the craw of Mr Haworth. But in saying that, both Ms Ardern and the new party president say the party did not handle this as they should have. So actually there was some blame there for the way that they interacted with the complainants, and also that the party did not have formalised good processes of dealing with complaints about allegations of a sexual nature. So all of that has been addressed. So yes, Ms Ardern said he fell on his sword. It was an honourable decision, and it was needed at that point to show that the party was taking it seriously.
What about the man at the centre of the allegations? He's maintained his innocence throughout. The report says in its substance that basically the most serious of these allegations are not substantiated in any way, shape or form, and he resigned his position. So what happens for him now?
The Prime Minister again was asked about that. All she would say is that he has resigned when asked if there was a way back for him. Now, he worked in the Labour Party leader's office at Parliament and quit in the middle of it. So really, we've had a statement from him through his lawyer today saying that this really vindicates him and vindicates his repeated denials. And he just said that it had taken a very heavy toll on him and his family, and thanked supporters. There was also a warning from his lawyer that any media naming him would face legal action potentially, and of course RNZ has not named the respondent or the complainant throughout this process.
In terms of the politics of this, Paula Bennett led the charge for this on National and was very public and very vocal. Has she had anything to say on the findings?
Not yet. We are going to the National Party to see if they have any views. I mean, a lot of people had advocated on behalf of these complainants based on the information that they were given. There were certain media outlets, of course, who ran the stories. So it'll be very interesting to see how the likes of Paula Bennett, who was very vocal on behalf of these complainants, will respond. Now, of course, we must say we do not want to be getting into any space either that we are suggesting that people should not come forward with sexual assault allegations, that there's any victim blaming here or anything like that at all. We are reporting the conclusions of this report, but there are going to be various people in this story who might look back on some of the information that was given to them and maybe question why or how that came to them.
Thanks, Jane. That is our political editor, Jane Patterson. And Checkpoint has tried to contact the principal complainant and National's Paula Bennett, who led the charge on this politically at the time. Neither could be reached for comment.